What's going on YouTube? Cole Rebels here, back with another Series 10 team building video, and today we're going to be looking at Necrozma Dusk Mane. So we're getting into the more interesting restricteds. We've done all the super sweaty tryhard, S tier, A tier restricteds. Now we're looking at again some of the B tier, lower B tier restricteds, and it's getting a little bit harder and harder, but still, there are ways to make these restricted works, right? So now we're going to be looking at Dusk Mane. So, Dusk Mane is actually not that bad right now, and it has some positives going for it. Again, it is a steel type, so just like Zacian, you have a positive matchup into Xerneas, right? So there's always that. The only thing with Necrozma Dusk Mane is, unlike Solgaleo, that gets clear body, you are prone to Intimidate and you are prone to Incineroar, right? But having said that, if you can support Necrozma to counter such a weakness, then you should be just fine. Now, how are we going to do this? So the way I see Necrozma is you've got to have Trick Room on this thing, because this is a great form of speed control, and this is what's gonna let you beat a lot of the faster metamons, okay? And with this amount of bulk, besides that attack stat, Necrozma is gonna be able to take hits very, very well, especially with Prism Armor, right? Which lets you take reduced damage from super effective attacks. So yeah, like you might think it's weak to like dark moves or even ghost moves like from a Calyrex, but it actually can take it pretty fine, and you can just OHKO it right back. So there's that. So how are we going to do Necrozma Dusk Mane here? So I feel like this core of Incineroar and Mimikyu is the key, right? And this is almost like if you had Calyrex Ice Rider here, right? Where they also used Incineroar Mimikyu. I feel like these three is like non-negotiable. You have to have these three. Like the other three, it could be like whatever you want or like a certain build, but I feel like these three have to be on a Necrozma Dusk Mane team. Why? Because first of all, Incineroar Mimikyu lead is like 99% of the time guaranteed Trick Room, especially if you have the Mental Herb item, which we are going to have. And then what you can do with Mimikyu is Shadow Sneak. After the Trick Room was up, when you get your parting shot off, you can Shadow Sneak and activate your weakness policy on the Necrozma. Yes, we are going to be using weakness policy on it. I feel like the extra damage that you get is important. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to sacrifice some of your attack and then add more into your bulk, because you're getting a +2 bonus anyway from your Trick Room, right? I'm sorry, your weakness policy. So you can do that, you know, because like there's that Necrozma Dusk Mane team running around that's just doing this, you know, just max attack, max HP. I mean, that's fine, but they're not running weakness policy, right? So they need the extra attack. But for us, because we have the weakness policy, we can actually give up some of the attack and invest in some of the bulk and survive certain hits that you might not think we would be able to survive, right? So this is the key right here. So Incineroar gives you the positioning with that parting shot. Mimikyu sets you your Trick Room, and Necrozma will also have Trick Room of its own in case it doesn't work out, where like you can sometimes just lead Necrozma Mimikyu, just you know, Trick Room, Shadow Sneak, and then, you know, go bonkers from there, especially if they lead incorrectly. So from here, we can just continue on with checks for the rest of the meta, because we got our core here. So I've seen Amoonguss as the grass type here, and it works because you have redirection support and then set up the Trick Room with Necrozma. I feel like that's okay. This is also another good mon to have against Xerneas. So if you like Amoonguss, this is also okay, but I'm going to go a different route here, because the team that also used like Amoonguss with the Mimikyu, like you had to go Life Orb and you had to go like Wood Hammer, right? Because this is your only grass move against Kyogre. Not that the rest of the team can't do anything against Kyogre, but I feel like I kind of want to just like go a different route here. So without the Amoonguss, you can still go with Rillaboom, and this is again still fine, because with Rillaboom, you have Fake Out support, and then you can still set your Trick Room anyway. And with like a U-turn, you can position anyway, especially if you have a faster U-turn, right? Because in Trick Room, your U-turn goes last if you're faster, and then you can just get positioning that way. And that's kind of the same idea with Incineroar Parting Shot, because you guys know that I run these two very, very fast. I always go for faster Fake Outs, but more importantly, in Trick Room, your Parting Shot or your U-turn goes last. Okay, and that's important because that'll let you get your Necrozma in safely to potentially sweep the other team. Okay, so that's my reasoning there. And you'll see my speeds in a second, but you can already guess what my speeds are. I haven't changed them in the since the other videos, but I will show you a different Incineroar spread that a lot of people are starting to use, and I'll explain to you why it's good, but more on that later. Now here, something like Tapu Fini makes a lot of sense. Yes, I know you have counteracting terrains, but that's still fine. That didn't stop anybody in Series 8, 7, or 9. And it's still fine here because what Fini does here is it'll set Misty Surge, and it'll stop annoying Amoonguss Spores, annoying Sleep Burn, you name it, and Necrozma doesn't like any of that, right? So Fini works out fine here. And you would just go with like a bulkier set with like Nature's Madness, but I'll show you that in a second Pokepaste. But I do want to show you this one first, because you know how I like to do these team building videos. I always like to give you different options and different things to think about, and then hopefully that inspires you to make your own Necrozma squad. Alright, but what I'm thinking here is Water Urshifu, alright, just for a little bit more offense, because like, you know, this is a Trick Room setter, this is a positioning mon, this is your sweeper restricted, this is a good hard hitter, this is another good hard hitter, right? So Urshifu with that Mystic Water item is going to be very, very good. And I have a different spread to show you this time. It's a little bit different than the other two that I've shown you. Okay, and then finally, well, first of all, why are we using Water Urshifu, right? Well, first of all, it gives us that Fire Water Grass card that it's Fire Water Grass core that is very much desired. Okay, and the thing here is, if you kind of look at this, you're a little bit, because you don't have the Amoonguss and Rillaboom instead, you're a little bit more weaker to Landorus-I, because like this doesn't want to take an Earth Power, this doesn't want to take an Earth Power, this doesn't want to take a Sludge Bomb, this doesn't want to take a Sludge Bomb. So these four in itself are kind of weak to Landorus-I, so you need like a really, really good hard check to it. And Urshifu Water is that check. So that's why we have it here. That's why we have a Watermon in general. But yeah, so if you notice here, you know, you've got two ground weaks. You have a ground resist, and what's pretty good in Series 10 is you balance those ground weaknesses with either a couple ground resists or a ground resist and like a flying pivot. So what are we gonna do here with our flying pivot? So in the popular Necrozma teams that are going around, they have like this. They have like this Galarian Zapdos with the power anklet, and I think this is good. Because what it does is it'll make you slow, right? And in Trick Room, it cuts your speed in half, and this will let you just destroy like opposing Incineroars, which Necrozma doesn't like. So like the goal here is remove the Incineroar, and Necrozma looks good. All right, and because it's a flying type, also it does well against Rillaboom, right? Which your Urshifu doesn't appreciate, but we have a certain spread for it. Stay tuned for the rest of the video, but I'll show you this in another pace. I'm thinking about something else at the moment. Believe it or not, I'm thinking Dragonite. Ooh, Dragonite. Wait a minute. Now we're talking something spicy here. Why Dragonite? So basically, the reason why Dragonite is actually kind of nice in Series 10, and it's taking a little bit of a rise as of late, is because the moves that it gets answers a lot of the meta, believe it or not. Inner Focus is one of the best VGC abilities in the game. Like, the fact that you can't be intimidated or faked out is really, really good, okay? And because of that, Dragonite can, you know, you don't really need Protect on it because you can't really get faked out. So, and I believe it was Sejun Park that made it very, very popular on his team. And we're going to take a page from Sejun Park's this time around. And the other thing with Dragonite here is because it's a flying pivot and a dragon, look at our two cores. Dragon, Fairy, Steel, Fire, Water, Grass. So we've got both cores here. So we have good counter weaknesses, very good balance. So this way we can pivot safely, right? So that's why a Dragon, Fairy, Steel, Fire, Water, Grass core on one team is very, very nice in terms of positioning and pivoting. Okay, so how are we going to do this? So, with Necrozma, we'll just keep it standard here. Of course, you're going to go with your #1 move, Sunsteel Strike. That's your stab move. And then from here, Photon Geyser is pretty good. It's a nice Psychic Stab move. And then from here, I kind of like Swords Dance. You could go Protect here, because you have the Weakness Policy, and maybe you don't need the Swords Dance. Okay, so Protect is also a good option here. And I kind of like Protect. But again, you have the option of again going with Swords Dance. So it's up to you. But I'm telling you, both of them are viable. Alright, Mimikyu, very standard set here. We're just gonna go like support Mimikyu stuff with Shadow Sneak, Will-O-Wisp, play rough for those annoying Urshifus, and finally Trick Room of its own. Okay, Incineroar again, Flare Blitz, Fake Out, Parting Shot, and Throat Chop. And we have a fast Throat Chop, right? Which is good because then they can't use like Parting Shot on their own Incineroar to get out of here. So that's also pretty good. Rillaboom, nothing new here. It's going to be Grassy Glide, Fake Out, Knock Off, and U-Turn. Okay, so nothing new there. This one, Surging Strikes, Close Combat, Aqua Jet, and Protect. Okay, Dragonite, we're gonna go with a couple moves here. First of all, like Dragonite with extreme speed with this Life Orb is great. Okay, and the ability to use it even in Trick Room is also very, very nice. So extreme speed Dragonite hurts a lot. Fire Punch is also really good. That's good against like opposing steel types like Zacian. So under Trick Room, Dragonite can just hit that thing with a Fire Punch and it's going to do massive damage to it. Dual Wing Beat with Life Orb can pretty much OHKO like 99% of the Rillabooms out there. Especially more of them are investing in like Spadef with the Assault Vest. So like this is your stab move with Life Orb and it's good too. This is also pretty good against Mienshao because you break its sash and you just remove it from the game. And then finally, the superpower move is the really big one, because this move is the move that lets you OHKO pretty much any Incineroar out there. If they are impish, then it is a roll, but it's still a very good roll, right? So yeah, Dragonite does really well against some of the stuff in the meta, so that's why it's starting to see some niche play in certain teams, right? So I do like Dragonite on this particular team. Alright, so then how are we going to do the rest? Oh, I forgot to give these guys their items. So, okay, so let's just go. Of course, we're going to go Safety Goggles here. We hate among this. This one is the Assault Vest, and we've already given the Mystic Water here. Okay, so we've got our items. We've got our moves. Alright, so now how are we going to do the EVs? Alright, and this is where things get spicy. This is where the meat of the video comes into play with this particular build. So Necrozma, we are already slow. We're just gonna go Adamant here, and again, I mentioned in the beginning of the video that because we have the weakness policy, we are gonna give up some of its attack, because we're getting a +2 bonus anyway, right? So let's just go ahead and do that. So let's see where the bump is. So this is the first bump at 20 investment. We can just go to 100, but you know, we do have Swords Dance here, so if you're gonna do that, then you want to go to like 108. Okay, so that's pretty good here. And then you'll just go up to 236 here. You don't really need speed here, so you can just pretty much put it there. And this is a calc that I've already done, like this kind of spread. So I do want to show you like what this is for. All right, so let's just put this in. I feel like I already imported this already, actually. So, where is it? Necrozma Dusk Mane. I even think this is on Picolytics or something, but anyway. Yeah, okay, so, let's first of all, let's look at Calyrex Shadow Rider, right? That's the big one. Can you live that? So, let's just remove that. And let's just go 252. Right, so you do live that Astral Barrage, right, with this bulk investment. So that's why I do like it a lot. So that's the first thing that you want to calc for, is can you live that Astral Barrage comfortably? The answer is yes. So that's the first thing. Okay, what about like Urshifu Dark? I spelled it wrong. So Urshifu Dark, yeah, even like with something weird like a black glasses, you live it very well. And of course, if you were Focus Sash, that's just gonna make the damage worse. So yeah, you're gonna live Urshifu Dark, Wicked Blow. So those are two great positives right there. Those are the two big hits that you want to live, obviously, right? So Necrozma is good. Necrozma is gonna do well. All right, so there's your bulk there. Mimikyu, we can just keep it relatively standard here. Nothing too crazy. What we can do here is just go Impish. Alright, for that extra defense here. Obviously we're gonna max our HP, or yeah, we're just gonna do this. We're just gonna go to a bump here. Alright, and then just 1 point in attack, 1 point in speed, and then just the rest in Spidef. So like a bulky Mimikyu that can, you know, take a couple hits, and then just really your job is to, you know, set Trick Room, proc the Policy, Will-O-Wisp like those annoying Zacians or other physical hitters, and just do a little bit of chip with your Play Rough and Shadow Snake overall, right? That's your job. Alright, Incineroar. So, okay, so you know my standard careful build, so now I'm going to show you the Impish build, okay, and I'll explain why some people are going this route. So it turns out, first of all, let's go to our normal speed, right? So it turns out that if you have 156 investment, all right, or even like up to 164, with a big amount of HP bulk, you can live a close combat Mienshao, that initial hit, right? So if I show you this, okay, so let me import this in our Incineroar spread. Okay, so watch this. All right, and then we go to Mienshao. All right, and then we go Jolly, 252. All right, and then we go close combat. Okay, ooh, he's level 100, that's why. That's way too much. So this is where I made it 1 point slower, and then either you go 164 and now you live, right? So that's also good. If you preferred that extra HP bulk, that's fine too. You still live no matter what. So either combination is gonna let you live. So this is why some Incineroars are going Impish, right? So you're free to go with this route. Actually, I probably want to just do like, probably just want to do this. Yeah. Okay. And if you really want to, you could even make it another point slower and then just go like 4, and that's still okay, right? So it's up to you if you want to use this in Incineroar spread. But if you're more than fine going the normal careful route, then just go ahead and do that, because that's also what I like to do. So we'll just do our normal careful spread here, and this will let you live again that Zacian close combat when you intimidate it. So there's that. But if you like living the Mienshao close combat, then go for the Impish build that I just showed you. Alright, Rillaboom, nothing's changing here, very standard Clover Bells Rillaboom spread. Alright, we've memorized this by now, so nothing new here. We always like to go 116 speed to outspeed 95% of those Rillabooms out there. Alright, if you run more than me, I want to know your name. Comment below. And I want to know why. But we know why. Alright, so this one is the cool one. So if you get nothing out of this video, you take a look at this Urshifu spread that we got here, okay? So I showed you one Incineroar spread, and now I'm going to show you this one. Okay, so in the past, we done these two spreads. So let me show you the ones that we've done in the past. Alright, so we done something like this. Okay, where like I made it 60 speed to outspeed Serena, and then I just dumped the rest in Spadef, and you have a very good chance of living that Xerneas Moonblast, right? And then we changed it to something like this, where we had this amount of speed and this amount of Spadef, and then what this speed does is after an Electro Web or some kind of +1 speed modifier, you're faster than Calyrex Shadow, and then you can just smash it, right? So I've shown you these two spreads, and both are very, very good. Now I'm going to show you one more in terms of a good spread here. So watch this. Okay, actually, it was this. Okay, so what does this spread do? So I actually used this on stream the other day when I was testing it, and this thing lives a lot of physical moves, and I was up against an opposing Necrozma team, and their Necrozma got to +4, okay? Because it clicked Dragon Dance twice, and it got its weakness policy off. Don't ask me why I let it happen, but I let it happen. And he hit my Urshifu with a +4 Sunsteel Strike, and I lived with no problem, alright? Does that mean Necrozma sucks and that this thing is good? Maybe, but the reason why we do this is not for that calc, it's for another calc. So let me show you what this does, alright? And your mind will be blown, okay? And you'll be very intrigued, and maybe you'll try this spread now, okay? Because I might break the meta with this, okay? Allow me to show you what this does. Okay, so normally you're weak to grass types like Serena or Rillaboom, but what if there was a way where I told you you could live their biggest hits, alright? So watch this. Let's go Rillaboom, okay? Watch this. Okay, let's say, forget about the bulk stats, right? We only care about Adamant and Grassy Glide. So look at this. Adamant, Grassy Glide, in grassy terrain, doesn't KO this Urshifu. It doesn't. It doesn't. Okay? We live it. Okay? You see the calc. What if this was not Assault Vest? What if this was 252 Adamant Miracle Seed? Okay? Alright? You still pretty much live. Okay, 6.3% chance to OHKO. Alright? You live this. Holy smokes. And most Rillabooms are not this strong. If you are a Rillaboom with Miracle Seed, Adamant 252, I need to know your name. If you're this strong, alright, which is very rare, 99% of the Rillabooms are not this strong, alright, I need to know your name, okay? But still, we live. We actually live, okay? What about Serena? Power Whip does more damage, right? So watch this. Alright, so let's say the Serenas are to the first bump with Power Whip. You live it, okay? Let's say they're at the second bump, 156 Adamant. You live that too, 6.3%, okay? And most Serenas, 99% of them are not this strong anyway, okay? So if you're a Serena with this much attack, I also need to know your name. But, yeah, you live two of the hardest hitting grass moves in Series 10. So I think that's pretty good. That's a worthy calc, okay? And, there's another cool thing. There's two other cool calcs that are interesting to know with this much Spadef and this much speed. First of all, why did I reduce the speed? So basically, even the fastest Serenas are going 220, and they don't go max speed Serena. They only go at most this much to outspeed base 111. So I felt like even dropping it to 123 was safe, because no Serena is this fast. All right, and again, if you are max speed Serena, I must know your name. So there is no way Serenas are this fast. Most of them aren't anyway. You can even check Picolytics. Alright, but watch this. What about certain special attackers? Like, what about a Calyrex Shadow Rider? Okay, what about a Calyrex Shadow Rider Astro Barrage? Yeah, you have a nice chance to live that too. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, yeah, Psyshock is a 50-50 roll. Of course, I expected that. But Astro Barrage, you live that? Okay. You know, that's kind of cool. What about, like, Landorus-I? You know, Landorus-I, Earth Power. Like, can you live that? That's not Landorus-I. That's my other Landorus set. This one, right? So Lando-I Earth Power, yeah, like you pretty much can live that. All right, 6.3% chance. So I like my odds here, and then we just KO it right back with a Surging Strikes. So a lot of calcs are into this Urshifu. So I recommend you give it a try. Even if you don't use this team, try this spread. Okay, try that instant spread I showed you earlier. All right, not this one, but the one I showed. If you rewind the video back. So I think this is a good Urshifu spread. So try it. All right, now Dragonite here. We're gonna keep it relatively standard Series 10 wise. So we just need to optimize its HP for Life Orb recoil, and this is it right here. Because 189. This will round it to 18.9, which rounds down to 18 damage per turn from your Life Orb chip. Because if you go to 190, you break the threshold, and now you're taking 19 damage per turn. So now we just go to 189. We just want to max its attack to optimize its damage output, and then from here we don't really need Spadef. We only need some speed, just a little bit. Okay, I feel like the 52 investment is enough. Like, if there was Tailwind on this team, you could, like, outspeed, like, a Dragapult. But, obviously we don't have Tailwind on this team. But still, some speed is good. Just to, you know, make sure you go first than some, like, other threats. And we are in Trick Room, so we're kind of slow anyway. And then the last few points, you can put it in defense. And if you want, you can honestly forgo the speed. And then just put more in your bulk, right? If your reason is like, wait, I'm in Trick Room, why do I need speed? That's up to you. So, but I like having a little bit of speed. Okay, so that's our squad. All right, so this is one way to use Necrozma Dusk Mane. And again, when I show you this paste here, I do want to remind you, like, okay, these two might be weak to Xerneas. Okay, but you have your Xern check right here, like your Trick Room and your Necrozma can check Xerneas, and you probably don't bring these two, like you don't bring both of them, you probably just bring one of them, and if they have something like an Incineroar or Lando-I, just bring the Urshifu and that's fine. You know, you can leave the Dragonite behind, but in the Xern matchup, yeah, like that's what you bring. So I do want to make that point, but again, you've got your Dragon Fairy Steel, your Fire Water Grass Core, you've got your Speed Control, you got Double Fake Out, you got Intimidate, so you have a lot of tools. Alright, this is a solid squad. Okay, so now let me show you like a couple other ideas that I had, but still staying true to the Necrozma core. Alright, so now I'm going to show you the second build that I think is pretty good, and again, for the sake of time, I just copy-pasted the ones that stay the same. What I did also do was put in the Impish Incineroar build, just in case you want to try and use it. So here it is, but again, the careful one is in the previous paste over here. So now for our, we have the Fire Grass boys. Now, what else can we use besides the Urshifu? So what has worked on, again, like Necrozma teams, as we said before, is Tapu Fini. So again, with Tapu Fini, your job is to basically just be bulky and support Necrozma and just deal annoying Nature's Madness damage while still having like water and fairy moves in general, right? So what I like to do with Fini this time around in Series 10 is actually go bold. And let's do its move first. So Nature's Madness is nice. Moonblast for sure. And we do want Protect in the last slot. Now this third move is you could put Muddy Water here. I've seen that. You could also go like Icy Wind for speed control. You could even go for something like what was that other move? Not Haze. You don't want that with this with Weakness Policy Necrozma. Muddy Water, Icy Wind, and Heal Pulse. Yeah, that was the other one I was thinking of. So like the Heal Pulse can heal your Necrozma also, and just heal anything else in general, or you even heal like the Mimikyu. But again, the reason why this is like the secondary pace is again like because you don't have the Amoonguss here. All of these are weak to Lando-I. Like Sludge Bomb, no. Sludge Bomb, no. Sludge Bomb, no. Bad. Earth Power, bad. So like it's kind of not great. which is why probably what you want to do here is replace this Rillaboom with the Amoonguss, right? And then that'll help a little bit, but it's still not like super amazing. But again, Fini does have its benefits on this kind of team. Alright, so what can you do with Fini here? Basically, first of all, let me put Muddy Water back, because that's a... wait. Misty Surge, yeah. Okay, sorry. Muddy Water. We do want that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna almost max the HP, right? We're gonna have leftovers so that 1/16 of our HP recovers. And if you do the math real quick, if you do 176 divided by 16, just like grassy terrain math, you're gonna get 11 points of recovery per turn. If you were to max it like this, now you're getting 11 point something, right? And it rounds down back to 11, so you're just wasting an extra EV point. So you just want to keep that at 176. And then for our bold set, we're just gonna go to a bump here, and I believe this was it. And then the rest was like something like this, and then just 4 and 4. Honestly, you don't really need speed on this Fini, especially if we're in Trick Room. You just need it to be bulky and keep clicking Nature's Madness. Alright, so what does this Fini calc do? Why this particular Fini? I think I have it imported already. Yeah, I do. Actually, I made it even bulkier than this. Let me just readjust the EVs here. 140, right? Okay, 140, and oh, actually, I went one above. That's interesting. That's fine. All right, so 116 and 140. Okay, so the reason why I did this. So again, if we look at the two grass types, Serena, what was it? The Power Whip. Oh, that's why I made it to 124. This is what I meant. Okay, that's why I did it. So let me readjust that. Okay, there we go. Now we have what I wanted. I was wondering, wait a minute, that's not what happened last time. Okay, so you survived that Serena Power Whip in the first bump, so that's always nice, right? That's the benefit of a bold Fini. If you look at like a Rillaboom, all right. So first of all, you live a Grassy Glide, an Adamant 196 bump. If you go 252 Adamant Assault Vest, you're still living that Grassy Glide, right? Imagine Fini living Grassy Glide in grassy terrain. And of course, if you take it away with the Misty terrain, then it does even less, okay? And then if you have that Miracle Seed, just to show you the math, it's still interesting. All right, so actually, the Rillaboom has somewhat of a role to KO you, but not too bad. And again, most Rillabooms are not this strong. Like I said, they even just go to the third bump here, but even with that Miracle Seed, and you have a pretty good chance to live that as well. So bold Fini's not too bad here. And again, if you remove the terrain, then you're fine. Okay, so that's the key thing you want to keep in mind there. But yeah, we hate Amoonguss, so we have our Fini. And then here, this is where like that flying pivot again helps. So something like that Zapdos, where is it? Yeah. So this is almost like that famous team on Victory Road. Victory Road, yeah. I'm sorry, not Victory Road. What was it called? Liberty Note. That had the Amoonguss here, but obviously we have our own spreads. Okay, but I mean, you can see why it works, right? And then just, you know, you could even make the 0 speed if you want. Not necessary, right? Because with the Power Anklet, you're slow enough anyway. And this is just a standard close combat. Brave Bird. Protect, I believe. And then you could go like Quick Guard. You don't have to go Quick Guard. You can even go like a Throat Chop on the Zapdos. That's kind of cool. There's a few other moves here. You don't want Kochi. U-turn is also a nice option here, just like another pivot. But again, I believe that Quick Guard, just to deny priorities, also is probably its best set here, and I believe it was on that pace too. And of course, we're gonna go Brave. So something like this is pretty good. And Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why this is not great either. Alright, you have, again, your Fake Out boys. You've got Intimidate, you've got some speed control here with the Trick Room, and then you have a deterrent against an opposing Incineroar Intimidate, and you can just KO with the close combat. So yeah, I mean, this one's pretty good too. So just put this up here. So like between these two, and again, if you want like the Among Us and the Rillaboom slot, that's fine too. And I would argue that's like maybe even a little bit better depending on the player. So it's up to you, but I like Rillaboom, man. It's just like immediate pressure with like Grassy Glides and whatnot. Yeah, you can get redirection to help set up your Trick Room. I understand that. Or set up your Swords Dance. I understand that. Of course, I would love to get any chance I get to play greedy. So the Among Us works, right? That's why that 6 worked very well. And shout out to the person that came up with that 6. I can't remember their name off the top of my head, but I still feel like because you have the Rillaboom, you don't need the Life Orb and the Mimikyu anymore because you have your own hard-hitting grass move, and the weakness policy is just too good to not have. That extra damage is so important, and like I said, you can put the Protect on that Swords Dance slot if you so choose. But anyway, let's just go ahead and take a look at some test battles with both these squads. Okay, so this one is a pretty standard Calyrex Ice team. He has 2 redirections for some reason. I feel like one of these should just be like a Rillaboom or maybe a Lurantis, but yeah, he's got, it's still relatively standard. He's got a Urshifu Dark, so remember, we are calced to live those hits on Dusk Mane, so I feel like either way, I still go with the Incin Mimikyu lead with Necrozma in the back. I feel like that's pretty much okay. And then I did bring the Urshifu Water instead. I didn't bring Dragonite because, yes, although Dragonite does look good against 4 of these mons, I don't want to deal with that ice weakness over there. So you could argue I could bring the Dragonite, but when the ice weakness is the restricted, it's a little tricky. So I'd rather just bring the Water Urshifu instead. Alright, so forgot to turn off the music. So here we go. Stack Attack at Indeedee. I expected this lead. Mimikyu and Incin is my lead. Okay, so the idea here is like he's probably just gonna get his Trick Room up no matter what. So I'm not go. I could also Trick Room, just so that to cancel that. But all in all, I want to get rid of this Indeedee. So if I could do that, that would be great. And my goal is just to click Will-O-Wisp, so this way maybe I get a burn, and maybe in case he doesn't click Follow Me for whatever reason, then I burn the stack. And lo and behold, for whatever reason, he didn't click Follow Me on the Indeedee, and I get the fortunate crit. I'm not sure if it mattered. I'm pretty sure it did. I don't think that one-shots an Indeedee unless it has like no bulk. But I burned the stack and the Indeedee's gone. So that was like the most perfect turn you could imagine. So I feel for this guy. He does get Calyrex Ice in, and that's still not the worst thing in the world because I can just go into Necrozma here. I know he breaks rocks. He does do Rock Slide. I was trying to Parting Shot. He does go for Swords Dance for whatever reason, and I do get the flinch. I was trying to Parting Shot there. But either way, I get in my Urshifu just so that I now have this on the field, and then I reverse the Trick Room. Goes for Outrage. That's quite a move he has. So I reverse the Trick Room, and now I'm just in a really, really good spot. This Stack Attack is not threatening, and then I can just double in this Calyrex. It can't protect, and we're just gonna do some big damage on it. And I almost don't even care about the stack. But yeah, and because of that, he realizes that, and then he just forfeits. I would have at least tried to play that out. I mean, did I get a fortunate turn 1? Yeah, I did. I killed the Indeedee and I burned the stack. If he just clicked Follow Me, none of those two things happened. So I have no idea why he didn't click Follow Me there. I have no idea what it was going for, but we do take those. So now let's play another one. Alright, I mean, this one's kind of dumb, but again, we're not insanely high ladder. We're just on another one of our test accounts. So he's got an Yveltal as his restricted, and there's a Lurantis. I'm not sure what any of these other things are supposed to do, so I just played normally. And just led the basic go-to combo here. He leads this. I just go Rillaboom and Mimikyu. I didn't want to do Incineroar just in case he leads the Lurantis to try and catch me, so I feel like Rillaboom was safe. And all I really need to do is just fake out the Yveltal and just set up Trick Room here, and that's pretty safe. So I do that. He goes for a Circle Throw, so he gets in my Urshifu, I believe. Yep, and there's my Trick Room. So my Urshifu is slower than the Yveltal here, so I'm pretty much gonna go first. He goes into his Nidoking. That doesn't matter. So I go for Play Rough, big damage on the Yveltal. I crit it. I don't think it mattered because I was just gonna kill it with Surging Strikes anyway. He has this thing, the Assault, so I just hit that with a Shadow Sneak just to do some damage on it. I try to see how much I can do against this Graplock here. And he goes for Psychic, and it actually obliterates my Urshifu. So I probably should have just taken that out, knowing that it's a Psychic type and I'm a Fighting type. But it doesn't matter because I have Necrozma in here. And I can just kill that thing with a Play Rough, and pretty much the game is done. He just has a Nidoking here. He goes for Earth Power, we live it, because we're Necrozma Dusk Mane. And there's our Sunsteel Strike, and Nidoking goes down. So very standard game, a low ELO game. So now let's look at some other games. This time with the Tapu Fini Zapdos game. Okay, so this one's a little bit more standard. So a more standard Tonogre team with Serena, Incin. He has a Raichu and Urshifu. So Zapdos already looks good here, right? Because Zapdos can just destroy that Urshifu, Dark, and Incineroar. Brave Bird just destroys Serena. And then under Trick Room, everything I have just wins the game. And he can't really stop my Trick Room either. So all I have to do is just lead normally here. So I go with Rillaboom and Mimikyu just to respect the Kyogre if he leads it. And he does lead it. So he can go with the Clover Bells play and swap out the Kyogre for Serena and then just Hurricane my Rillaboom, anticipating I go for like a Fake Out or Grassy Glide. That's one of my favorite plays when I play Kyogre. So just to respect that, I go for a U-turn. It's not going to kill, obviously, but at the very least, I lose nothing out of it. And any chip damage on Kyogre is good, because then that just makes the end game for Rillaboom that much easier in case he's EV to like take a Grassy Glide for whatever reason, like I do. So let's see what he does. He does go for the Clover Bells play. He goes into Serena. He goes for Hurricane, but he doesn't KO because we're Assault Vest. And we go into Necrozma now. Now I do want to point out that if he was Life Orb, like how we built our Kyogre team, you get that kill. But because he's not Life Orb, he doesn't get the kill. And now our Kyogre can win the game as soon as we remove the Serena here. So all I really have to do here is just kill the Serena, and that is what I do here. He Grassy Glides, that doesn't do anything. He crits me that time, so I get the Photon Geyser. Serena is gone, so now Rillaboom just wins. And now I think he has his Incineroar. Yeah, he does. So he intimidates me, but that's not going to matter too much because I have Shadow Sneak. And I get my policy going. He goes for Throat Chop. He's faster than me in Trick Room. That's good. And he crit me a second time, but I remove any late game Tailwind that he might have, and I did bring the Zapdos. So I mean, I can go down here. That's fine. And I just need to do some chip damage, but I whiff the Kyogre because that's what Play Rough does sometimes. But this is still okay, because I have one turn of Trick Room, and now I get the Zapdos in. So all I have to do is just KO the Incineroar Close Combat, which I do, and the game is over now because Rillaboom wins against the Kyogre, and that chip damage is all I really need in case he was EV to take that. But yeah, both things live. He went for Origin Pulse, so I just do more chip damage. Nah, he KOs both things. That doesn't matter because I have Rillaboom. Alright, and just for giggles and squeaks, I click the Fake Out button. And now I just go for Grassy Glide, and I could have went for that last turn in case he protected, but yeah, that was pretty much it. So that was a good one against Tonogre. Let's look at one more. Okay, so this is a relatively standard Groudon team with Zapdos. Remember, we like Zapdos on Groudon teams, and he has Stack Attack as well. And he's going with the Venusaur way. And he also has a Rillaboom. That's also interesting. You usually don't see both, but he has both. No Cherim, by the way, no Entei either, so that's also interesting. He has the Sableye. I'm not sure what that thing's supposed to do. Probably his Calyrex check, I would assume, but okay. So I feel like Incineroar Mimikyu is a safe lead here because everything he has is physical except for like the Venu and the Zapdos. So that's exactly what I decided to do, and I can always Fake Out Imparting Shot. So Sableye and Zapdos, so the two things that don't suffer from Intimidate. I do click Fake Out, and I do get my Trick Room up. He clicks Knockoff for whatever reason. That's fine because I get my Trick Room up. So now I can just Parting Shot into Zapdos and get in my Necrozma and just go from there, right? So he goes into Groudon. That's interesting. So that's exactly what I want. And I chip the Sableye in case it has Sash. He knocks off my safety goggles. That's fine. I cut the Groudon's attack, but he has White Herb, so that's a good item on Groudon, I believe. So now Necrozma's in the position. He clicks Will-O-Wisp on the Mimikyu, but not the Necrozma. I wonder why he did that. Okay, that's very interesting. But he did it. So this is just a free Shadow Sneak into my Necrozma, and then we just smash the Groudon here. It doesn't kill because he's very bulky, but does enough where like I can still live whatever because Necrozma and Mimikyu are bulky. Groudon protects. I called the protect. Clicks Knockoff. I already proc my policy, so I just Sunsteel Strike the other slot, calling the protect. Obviously Player Off does nothing because he protected. Now he has the Zapdos here, so I could kill the Groudon right now, but then like I'm gonna struggle against the Zapdos, right? Because I just have like Incin, and I forget what else I brought in the back, but so I don't really care about Groudon here. I have a Rillaboom in the back, I just remembered. So both of them win against the Groudon. I just have to remove the Zapdos. So, you know, he tries to double protect. I don't fall for it. I just remove the Zapdos completely. And now like Rillaboom just wins the game. And there's a play rough here. That doesn't matter. Okay. And then he forfeits. So yeah, I mean, we played Dusk Mane the way it's supposed to be played. And we beat some relatively solid squads, except for that Yveltal Graplock thing. But yeah, you saw how it plays, and it pretty much plays like Calyrex Ice. You lead like Instant Mimikyu or Rillaboom Mimikyu, you get your Trick Room up, you pivot, you get your Necrozma in, and then you just smash from there, right? So, relatively straightforward. Okay, so here's the 2-pace one more time. So again, we didn't bring Dragonite in those games, but that's okay. We only played like 2 games. You're gonna find use for it, I promise. And Urshifu Rapid Strike is always just gonna be useful, especially this kind of spread. Alright, if anything, try this spread. Like, it's gonna be so good for you. And then the other one, with the Fini and the Zapdos, this one is very similar to the other team on Liberty. Note, it's just a Rillaboom instead of the Amoonguss. Okay, so just be aware of that. But yeah, I feel like the core of Necrozma, Instant Mimikyu is the way to go. And then from there, your other 3 slots depend on you. So you could go the Amoonguss, Fini, Zapdos way. You can try this way, Rillaboom, Fini, Zapdos. I feel like that's fine too. You could even just try this Dragonite way just to like discourage opposing Incineroars and whatnot. And you can remove opposing like Rillabooms and such. But Urshifu Rapid Strike fits in well here to round out that Fire, Water, Grass core. And again, you have that Dragon, Fairy, Steel core as well. So different ways you can run it. I also saw a Liberty Note team with like Dracovish on there. So that's another Dragon, Water type too. I don't know how I feel about that one. And I think that one also had an Amoonguss. But yeah, I mean, there's another way where you can run Necrozma, and that's a Necrozma Rain team. I didn't want to do that here because then that would just spoil the next video. Which is a battle video inviting another special guest who also had a Necrozma Rain team. So stay tuned for that video, but in the meantime, hopefully this gives you some ideas on how to use Necrozma, and yeah, we'll be back next time. Peace.